for you. Number one, this is the smallest the tunnels ever get. And this is also the second lowest point during the tour. Once we're through this tunnel and back on the other side, it opens up into this again. So if anyone's on the claustrophobic side, there's your forewarning. But more importantly, watch your step. It can be easy to slip or get tripped up as you're going through here. It can be easy to slip, and it's a little more rocky this year. In fact, just the other week, I had someone almost go to the floor once they were on the other side. So do be careful. With that, if you'll pardon me, and then please follow me.
Good thing I had my first shoes on.
So, here we arrive at what is called a miner's chamber. This is one of the places where they are actually going to be mining the rock and coal from the mountain. So the workday would have begun here, with the miner and his laborer staging themselves and their tools and their gear so that they are set and ready to go. And once they work, they're going to climb a ladder, which usually they built themselves, and then make their way up into the chamber. As they are climbing, they are checking the integrity of their timbers, checking for loose rocks, and at this point especially checking for black damp. Once they had reached the highest point they can get to with a decent amount of coal, they're going to set about their work, drilling into the mountain face and then packing the holes they drill with explosives. They are going to wire and rig those charges and then make their way back down here. And once they're back down here, they are now going to shout fire as loud as they can, up to 3 times in every direction, as well as up the nearest chambers, to alert everyone around them that they are about to be blasting the mountain. Once that's done, they get to cover and they wait for their explosives to detonate. Once the dust has settled enough, not entirely, enough, the miner and the laborer are going to make their way back up into the chamber. Again, checking their timbers, checking for loose rocks, and at this point especially for fire damp. They are going to begin to send the up to 10 tons of loose rock and coal they just freed from the mountain down this chute here, which leads right up to where they're working. That material makes its way down and gathers in this end here that we call the battery. Here, the laborer or someone else working with the team is going to use what we call a checkboard. You may be able to see this one here. He uses that to regulate the flow of material coming out of the chute into the coal cars that will be waiting where you're all standing. Once the battery, the chute, and the chamber had all been emptied and cleared, the miner and the laborer make their way back down here once again. They collect some of the timbers they brought with them, head back up into the chamber. They're going to square off and secure the new working area they just cleared, while also building the chute up to where they're going to be working next. And they are then going to get ready to do all of that work, up to 2 to 3 more times, for the rest of their 10-hour shift, which would have occurred 6 days a week, or 7 should the company have said so. Now obviously that's before regulations, but during that time we were a mid-sized mine, running 2 10-hour shifts of anywhere between 200 to 250 men per shift. Now note of this chamber is we consider this to be a completed example of one. This runs up into the mountain for about 100 feet at a roughly 45-degree angle. Given how we understand these chambers can be constructed, we estimate there are thousands, just like this one, all throughout the 20 to 24 miles of tunnel that were originally around us and below us. With that now, I am going to step down, and you are all welcome to come up here and get a better look at the miner's chamber. Just one thing before you do so. Please be careful on the step up and the platform itself. I don't want to see anyone get tripped up or hurt. As you do get done with your look, try and make your way towards that end of the group as we can rotate everyone up here as efficiently as we can. And if anyone does have any more questions, now is a good time to send them off.
I think we'll move them.
couple of them.
Go ahead.
So once they were down for their 10 hours, what if they needed to go back up? Is there any way they could go, or they just had to stay?
It had to be an absolute emergency. Right here.
Oh, really? Okay, so that
drainage
was,
ditch.
okay.
Yep.
And they also ate down here as well,
Yes.
lunch, whatever?
But
And they-
there were no dedicated lunch breaks.
So they just
It
ate
was a
when they
case of
need,
you eat what you can
when you can. Last question I had. It'll come back to me.
When did they instill or implement regulations, and was it a union, was it a government?
It was largely driven by the unions, and it ultimately came down to, federal regulations. I want to say you're looking at somewhere probably between the 20s and 40s.
And
Yes. That was our